Welcome to Torch Talk.
VHS News for the students, by the students.
Coming up next.
Getting to know our head students.
The new Makerspace.
International Day of Women and Girls in Science. I'm Laura.
And I'm Liv.
And this is Torch Talk. So Torch Talk is finally back.
Yes, and we're COVID friendly as well. Everything has been filmed according to COVID protocols.
Which was a little tricky at times. I expect all newsrooms are having to adjust.
Yes, and speaking of newsrooms, since we celebrate Black History Month in February, we thought we would honor some of the pioneers in the broadcasting industry.
From the beginning, in the late 1940s, American television was mostly all white.
Things began to change as people pushed the networks to produce shows with more roles for people of color.
Shows like 1968's Julia, starring Dion Carl,
and Star Trek, produced in 1966, starring Nichelle Nichols. From the news industry, we want to recognize Max Robinson.
He began his broadcast career in 1959, but he had to read the news hidden behind a studio's logo.
Max Robinson won 6 journalism awards for covering the civil rights movement.
He became the first African American news anchor on a local broadcast in 1969.
And then went on to become an anchor on ABC World News Tonight in 1978.
Carol Simpson was the first female African American to anchor a major United States network in 1975.
Torch Talk salutes these pioneers. In February, we also recognize the International Day of Women and Girls in Science.
We asked BHS science leaders Olivia and Bethany to share some information about it.
When was the International Day of Science, and why did you promote it?
So the UN International Day of Women and Girls in Science was on February 11th, and we are the science leaders and just wanted to share this day with everyone.
So there's a big gender gap within the profession and education system relating to science. So we really wanted to shed light on this gender gap and inspire some young girls to maybe consider having a profession in STEAM.
Is there a scientist who really inspires you?
A woman in science who inspires me is Marie Curie, because she was one of the first women ever recognized in science. In fact, she was the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize, and I think that's really cool.
A female scientist that really inspires me is Dr. Karika Weldon, because she is leading the COVID scene here in Bermuda, and she's doing an amazing job. Our testing regimes are one of the top 10 in the world, and I think she's doing well protecting us and also influencing young girls.
Thank you so much, Olivia and Bethany. Torch Talk paid a visit to our head students, Layla and Leonae.
Vakashni has that interview. Vakashni?
Today, we've asked our head students to join us on Torch Talk so that we can get to know them a little bit better. Hello, Leonae and Layla. Welcome to Torch Talk. Why don't we start with the biggest question first? Why did you want to become head girl? What made you apply for the position?
So honestly, the reason why I wanted to be head student is because it's such a great opportunity for anybody who's at BHS. It exposes you to going to meetings, to organizing things, to having different responsibilities. And I think the things that you learn from being head student, you can definitely take them with you after you graduate and go into the work world. So I would for sure tell anybody to definitely put yourself forward and give it a try.
Thank you. Our next question comes from year 5.
Is it hard to be head girl and to have all the responsibility? So I think it's a mixture between being a reward and being a little bit hard, just because you are an IB2 student and we do get quite busy, but you also need to remember that you're like your biggest supporter, like you are capable, and I put myself in this position since I thought I would be able to handle it. So I think just to remind yourself that you are fine, you are good, everything will be great in the end is just a way to remember it.
That was a great question. Could you tell us what some of your responsibilities are as head students?
So one of our responsibilities as head students is that we get to attend different events in the community. And one of those was the Teacher Appreciation Celebration, which was at City Hall, and that was such a fun experience. And another thing that we got to do as head students is open the Innovation Center officially, which was a super amazing experience that I'm very grateful to be a part of.
So one of the responsibilities for being head students is to run a Friday meeting. So that consists of the leadership team, which are Leah and I, the deputies, the house captains, the game captains, and the year 11 prefects. So we all meet and we discuss just initiatives that we want to put through the school, as well as our big day that we look forward to, which is Round Square Day, which will be coming up soon. So we're getting organized for that.
Thank you. Our next question comes from year 6.
As head girls, what do you want to change about BHS?
As head girl, one thing that I would like to change about BHS is just really uniting the community and participating in conversations which we don't usually have. One of those things that Layla and I organized was Black Lives Matter discussions, and I think having these in school are very important, and I'm really proud of how much the school has supported us in organizing these conversations and allowing us to reach a lot of different students within the school community.
So one of our goals we wanted to look at was mental health awareness, as well as just mindfulness and kind of not always focusing on the stress side of school. So Leah and I looked into doing small activities that just practice that in the mornings, like meditation, 5 things you're grateful for, 5 things that you think that you can do. So doing little activities like that, especially in secondary, since it does get quite tough for students. And then another one was we worked with the Angels to just think of little things that we could also implement in the school. So if you've noticed some like little kind words and posters around.
This month is Black History Month, and you have been sending daily emails about inspirational people. Is there a particular person who inspires you, or perhaps a quote that you find inspirational?
So one person that really inspires me is Misty Copeland, and she was the first African American principal ballerina at APT. And she inspires me so much because I love to dance myself, and I just think she's an amazing role model. And one of her quotes is, "You can be unsure, you can be nervous, and you can still put yourself forward and still succeed." And that's something that I take with me every day.
So 2 people I look up to are Michelle Obama, just because she's very charismatic and you can see the empathy that she shows towards people. Also, I just think she's a really cool person and down to earth. And then another one is Oprah. Like most people, I just think that she speaks with such wisdom, and whenever I listen to her, I just feel like it really touches me.
Thank you. We have another question from primary. This time it's from year 2.
I would like to know what's your favorite subject in school.
So I don't want to disappoint any in particular teacher, so I'm going to share both of my favorite subjects, which are art and geography. Art because it's just always something I've done on the side, and I love having like that creative space. Also geography, just because my love for the environment, as well as it is a subject that's a mixture of human and kind of that physical side, so I think there's always something new to learn.
For my favorite subjects, I'm kind of caught between theater and chemistry. I love theater because you get to be creative and act with your friends, but I also love chemistry because the experiments are always fun and interesting, and you get to learn about how the world works around you.
Before you go, we have one last question from year 1, the most important one of all.
What's your favorite animal?
So I would definitely consider myself an animal person, so choosing one would be really hard, but I do love giraffes, lions, and lemurs, and marsupials, so like kangaroos and koalas.
My favorite animal is definitely an elephant because I think they are so cute, and though I haven't seen one in real life, I would love to see one day.
Thank you so much for taking the time off to join us on Torch Talk, Leona and Layla.
Thanks so much for having us, Torch Talk. It was really fun.
Back to you now, Liv and Laura.
Thank you, Vikashni.
This year, our new Innovation Center opened, and we have been enjoying using the new space.
This month, as part of Torch Talk Focus, we thought we'd take a look at the Renaissance Recreation and the Innovation Space.
Also known as the Makerspace.
It's a busy room hosting 3D printing workshops,
Catapult construction,
boat making and Martian shelter construction,
15, 16, 17, 18.
African masks,
and a vehicle assembly line.
not to mention cranky contraptions. Definitely a fun space.
Speaking of fun, World Book Day is coming up soon.
Remember that date for the Extreme Reading Contest.
Send your photos to the English department by next Friday. And that's it for this broadcast.
Remember to share your stories. Email us at torchtalk@bhs.bm.
Torch Talk, news for the students, by the students.